I've been working with pregnancy centers since the late 1980s. Yes, it's true. Both Scott and I are old. What I started out doing, it's true. What I started out doing was working with them on learning how to do public speaking more effectively. So we started a program called the Pro-Life Speaker Seminar, which is still active today, working with pregnancy center staff and teaching them how to represent their centers more effectively in public. From that, we grew into doing banquet work. You know, I find the best way to move forward in ministry is when people ask you, whether or not you want to do something, say yes. So somebody asked me, do you do banquets? And I went, sure. And so for probably over 30 years, I've been also doing fundraising work for them. And then we morphed from that into, they are now the kind of the tip of the spear for these Contend for Life seminars that I'm doing all over the United States. So we're working through pregnancy centers to equip pastors and lay leaders to not only speak more effectively from the pulpit on abortion, but also how to learn how to make the scientific, moral, and biblical case for life, something you know a little something about. And so,
a little bit.
We cite your book all the time. So that's the work that I've primarily done with them. I speak at all of their conferences, Heartbeat, CareNet. And as a matter of fact, I'll be at CareNet next week doing a session on public speaking and also talking with some people about getting Contend for Life seminars off the ground in various areas here throughout the United States, Massachusetts in particular, for example.
That would be a good place.
Right about now, yes.
Yes, it would be. So I've observed, and I'm wondering if you agree with me, or maybe you see more distractions, but I see two primary distractions for pregnancy center ministry, one from the left and one from the right, so to speak. The first distraction involves saying to pregnancy centers, you've got to shift from being pro-life to pro-abundant life, by which we mean the pregnancy center needs to take on more than just saving babies from abortion. It needs to focus on fatherhood initiatives, needs to focus on building strong families, needs to focus on discipleship, helping families integrate in their local churches. And the list is quite extensive of what they list under the banner pro-abundant life. And my fear has been these centers are going to end up taking on a job description that would overwhelm Superman. Now, on the other side, we'll use the term right for the sake of being politically consistent here, I guess. You have the equal protection groups that are saying pregnancy centers need to politically get involved supporting these equal protection measures. Otherwise, as I heard one advocate say recently, they're failing in their duty to serve God and save children. Could you address those two distractions and then add another one if I've missed one?
Okay. Well, I want to start by saying that the primary goal of pregnancy resource centers and clinics, pregnancy help organizations, whatever moniker you want to use for them, is singular, which is it's to save children who are at risk from abortion. That is what they exist to do. No other organization is focused on that in the way these folks are. And all of the other things that the folks on the left say, there are plenty of other organizations that are out there doing that. And so it's important not to dilute our resources or our time or our attention. We want to stay focused on saving the lives of unborn children. Having said that, a number of centers, depending, I think, a lot of times on where they're located and what their demographic group looks like, have found that by engaging in other services, I'll give you a great example, STI testing. So there are centers that do STI testing, and the rationale for doing that is they get people in. The one thing they know about those people is that they are sexually active. They provide STI testing and then immediately provide counseling, because can we both agree it would be better for people not to have unintended pregnancies in the first place?
Sure.
And so if they can get people in that they know are sexually active, can help them to have a more biblical worldview about their body, about human sexuality, then those people, they could actually preempt those people from ever becoming a client. I think also on the fatherhood initiative front, I think a lot of people argue that in where they are, the number one factor about determining whether or not a woman is going to have an abortion is going to be what the father says. So if the guy is pushing really hard for an abortion, sometimes she will not have the psychological or intestinal fortitude to say no. And so they think if they can get the guy in, that'll help. So I think as long as I've talked about this at conference with people, as long as we don't take our eye off the ball, the end game in all of this has got to be that the person who's at risk of being intentionally killed is the unborn child inside that woman's body. And so from organization to organization, depending on their locality, some of them are going to adopt other programs that are designed to feed into that life-affirming decision. And as long as that is understood, then I think we're fine. Even when we talk about things like discipleship, most centers recognize that they do not have the resources to help a woman who's made a decision for Christ and disciple her all the way to maturity. So they utilize, like Amy Ford's group, Embrace Grace, and they get them founded in an area church. And now it's a bridge. And I think that's what you and I have been arguing for all along, which is there are a lot of other ministries out there that do things the center itself doesn't have to do. If they can coordinate with other agencies, they can still get the same benefit without diluting their resources or attention.